Honorable Gonzi Rai will be seeking a statement from the Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee with regards to safety of a Kenyan in Saudi Arabia. This is pursuant to the provisions of standing orders that the members will be requesting for statements on those concerns emanating from their areas or constituencies where they represent. Also this afternoon, a sitting that is usually set aside or allocated for responses to questions by cabinet secretaries. The Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Honorable Aden Duale, is expected to appear before the floor of the House this afternoon to respond to various questions by 6 members. The member for Alego Usonga, Honorable Samuel Atandi, will be seeking to get an explanation from the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry on why the National Environment Management Authority, commonly referred to as NEMA, issued a license for the construction of residential properties along Othaya Road, Kileleshwa, despite the potential environmental impact caused by the developer. Also, why NEMA permitted the construction of the said building to proceed without public participation, and also explain why the developer has been able to continue constructing the said illegal structures even after repeated requests and petitions from concerned residents. The member for Chepalungu, also Honorable Victor Koech, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary to confirm the presence of Lalea Company Limited and Naraitoi Company Limited that are engaging in large-scale irrigation-based farming along Amalo River in Chepalungu constituencies. Also confirm the allegations made by the residents of surrounding villages, including Chemegwa, Kinyanga, Kobolwo, Kosia, Kamosiro, Nogirwet, and Kamongil area, that the said companies are engaging in cloud seeding activities, resulting in alterations to the local rainfall patterns, with some villages experiencing a complete lack of rain throughout the year, despite other parts of the constituency receiving rainfall. I'm sure at this point we will be able to understand the activities of cloud seeding once the Cabinet Secretary explains in length, or rather when he responds in length to this particular question that will be asked by the Honorable Member for Chepalungu. Also, the Honorable Member Victor Koech will be seeking the Cabinet Secretary to state the steps the Ministry intends to take to address the concerns raised by the affected residents. The member for Westlands, Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi, will also be seeking some explanations from the Cabinet Secretary on the reasons behind the depletion of rivers. This includes the number of permanent rivers that have dried up in each county over the past 4 years, and the plans by the ministry to address and mitigate the situation. Also enumerate the entities and groups that discharge their effluent in rivers, along with the number of private dams constructed in the last 2 years, and the policy statement outlining the penalties imposed on such entities for negative environmental actions. The member for Nakuru County, Honorable Liza Chelule, also will be seeking some elaboration from the Cabinet Secretary on the initiatives undertaken by the ministry to preserve wetlands and catchment areas within the country, and further state the effectiveness of such institutions. That is the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula making his way into the chamber already, or rather already inside the chambers. Of course, he will be giving his communication with regards to the activities of Parliament going forward. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. Good afternoon.
Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umetoa nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu. Twakusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao wameridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Twakuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote tutakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako ziendelezwe na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Sergeant, ring the quorum bell. Huyo Mlemba. Mwalimu.
The prayer has been said and the chair has been taken, but the House lacks the requisite quorum. This is unlike the Tuesday afternoon sitting, where after the prayer had been said and the chair taken, the House had attained its quorum, but it's a bit different on this afternoon sitting. This afternoon, remember, the business that will be transacted is the cabinet secretaries responding to various questions that were forwarded to him by Parliament on concerns that were raised by various members. These are matters that relate to either county, inter-county, national, regional, or even international concerns that the cabinet secretaries appear before Parliament to respond to those concerns. And this afternoon, we expect the cabinet secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, that is the Sergeant at Arms, indicating that the quorum has been achieved, as is the tradition. So allow me to hand you over to the live broadcast. Good afternoon.
Members, we now have quorum to transact business. Clerk.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages.
I have a communication.
Oh, we have a communication.
Thank you. Honorable members, I have a short communication on the public participation program on the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable members, further to the communication issued yesterday on consideration of the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Gachgagua as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, and today's briefing on the public participation program relating to the consideration of the special motion, I wish to guide further in the matter. As members are aware, the advertisements published today inviting submission of views and notifying the public of hearings on the special motion list all 290 constituencies and indicate that the exercise is to be coordinated from 47 count venues or collection centers across the country. Arising from the members' briefing held earlier today, I wish to clarify that the public participation program additionally contemplates the collection of views at the constituency level. In this regard, I confirm that the officers of the clerk shall be present to assist the collection and compilation of views from onward transmission to the office of the clerk through the respective collection compilation centers specified in the public advertisements. The House is accordingly guided. Thank you.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader. Bukosi, you want to stand in for them?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Majority Leader, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024 afternoon sitting. 1, the 2024 Annual Public Debt Management Report from the National Treasury and Economic Planning. And 2, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IBC, Annual Report for the period ended 30th June 2024. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, Honorable Murugara, your report is on my desk.
It's on my desk, yeah.
I'm going through it and have some issues with it. I need to discuss with you.
I've been informed. I was informed, Your Honor, I was informed. I have to come and see you. We have a discussion.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, there is a request for statement by Peter Mbogo, MP Mwatate. Is he in the House? Peter Mbogo. Honorable Tindi Mwale, you may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the fight against drug trafficking in the country. Honorable Speaker, over the years, Kenya has been identified as a transit country for heroin trafficking, trafficked from Afghanistan and the Arabian Gulf to Europe and Americas and other parts of Africa. Presently, there is a huge domestic heroin and cocaine abuse problem, particularly in the coastal region. Despite concerted effort by the government, there have been reports of state and public officials facilitating the inland movement of heroin and other drugs, as well as the activities of certain organized crime groups. A notable axis exists in Kenya between heroin trafficking and other crimes such as corruption, human smuggling, armed trafficking, and poaching. The country also remains a transshipment point for the global cocaine trade. Reports indicate that upon arrival in Kenya, cocaine is shipped onwards to Ethiopia, Tanzania, Somalia, both for consumption and onward trade. It is noted that Kenya's cocaine trafficking market is attributed to limited maritime enforcement capabilities and hampered drug interception, as well as involvement of law enforcement officers who have been identified as the primary organizers and facilitators of cocaine distribution and retail sale within the country. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security to appraise the House on the following. Roman 1, the number of users of hard drugs in the country registered by National Authority for the Campaign Against Drug Abuse, NACADA, with specific focus on heroin and cocaine. Roman 2, the reported involvement of the law enforcement officers, especially Kenya Police and the National Intelligence Service, in facilitating cocaine transit, distributing, and sale in the country. And 3, Roman 3, the status of the war against drug abuse, including an enumeration of rehabilitation programs for persons affected by drug abuse, majority of whom are the youth. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Tindi Mwale, Chairman, Administration and Internal Security, Tongoyo. Yes, Rindikiri, I am a member of the committee.
No, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to
say something to it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, this issue of drug and substance abuse is increasing day by day, particularly among our youth and in schools. Honorable Mwale has brought it at the right time, and I think it's a serious problem, and this needs to be fast-tracked. And I think we need more information from every region. I agree with the statement that there are some public officers who are conduits and the protectors of the drug traffickers. Mr. Speaker, if we have to save the generation of our youth, I think we need to have a deeper report, and I'm pleading with all the members in this House, including myself, that we avail information on what we know, not necessarily in one specific region. We all come up together and join hands, providing information that we collect from the constituencies so that this report is properly enhanced. I ask that the committee should not latch on this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Rwanda.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, nampongeza mwanzo mheshimiwa kwa kuleta swala hili la mihadharati hapa bungeni. Kusema la kweli, hili swala linatuathiri sana. Na kabla sijaendelea kuchangia, nataka mheshimiwa uchukue tahadhari sana. Mimi mwenyewe hapa nilikuja nikataja majina ya kwangu na ilikuwa mwanzo wa maisha yangu kubadilika. Bunge la 12 nilikasirika, ilikuwa imezidi, nikaja nikataja jina. Maisha yangu ilibadilika, ikabidi sasa nitembee na askari kila pahali. Na nikaongezewa na askari. Na nashukuru bunge hili walinisaidia sana. Hii shida iko na ilikuwa imeletwa mpaka kuzungumza, inakuwa ukizungumza wewe ndio unakuwa mbaya. Wale wanauza mihadharati si wabaya, wewe unayezungumza kama mbunge. Kuna siku mimi nilienda pahali kwa mkutano, nikazungumza, nilikaribishwa nikazungumza. Kuna mtu alikuja akanishika hivi, akaniambia usizungumze maneno hayo. Yaani ukizungumza umewaletea wao shida. Wamekuwa wale wanayouza wana power zaidi kushinda hata wewe mbunge unakatazwa hata usizungumze. Wakati experience yangu wakati nikiomba kura, madrug dealer paka wa Lamu West wote walitoka wakaja Lamu East kunipinga nisipate, lakini Mwenyezi Mungu akawa na mimi na ndio nikarudi hapa. Hii tatizo kwangu Lamu East iko kubwa sana. Youth wetu ilikuwa percentage inaongezeka. Mwanzo ilikuwa ni nimesahau hizo numbers, lakini Red Cross wanazo. Vile inaongezeka ni maajabu. Watoto wameathirika, watoto ni vulnerable kwa sababu wako pale karibu na mpaka. Wale wakitumika vibaya itaanza kuleta hatari sana. Kwa hivyo jambo hili la mihadharati, mimi nataka pia kama ni waziri anakuja na mimi nije nichangie hapo. Sahihi, naomba permission kabisa niwe friend of that committee, niende pia. Kuna matatizo tunawajua paka majina tunawajua speaker. Kama kwangu eneo bunge langu wote wanauza mihadharati. Ukichukua mtoto ukimwambia nipeleke nani anauza mihadharati, anaweza kuonesha ni huyu anauza mihadharati. Lakini ukitaja majina nitapata tena shida nyingine. Hiyo shida nimeipata paka naogopa sasa. Ni shida. Watoto utamuona ameumia, anatoka usaha, ukimpa 200 anakimbilia nipe 200 aende hospitali, anaenda kula mihadharati. Hili tatizo liko na linatuathiri sana. Na tukiliacha kuendelea zaidi itatuathiri zaidi. Asante. Sasa hii angalau mmeanza kusema huku, lakini cost ni zaidi. Lilikuwa ni janga la cost tu, sasa ile kwa limekuwa janga la Kenya nzima, cocaine. Asante. Na kwangu si cocaine peke yake. Kwangu kuna drugs zinatoka ni tembe. Zinaitwa karambela. Nimezungumza mpaka kwa security meeting naambiwa zilete hizo karambela tuzione, hatuzijui. Lakini kisha wao wenyewe wameniambia wamezipata. Karambela inauzwa shilingi 20. Youth akikula hizo karambela anakuwa wild animal. Anaweza fanya chochote. Na ziko na hakuna kitu inachukuliwa. Na ziko speaker wewe mwenyewe ukitumana hapa mtu aenda kanunue pahali, utapelekwa paka hapa ndio anauza. Hakuna ambaye hajui nani anauza. Ni hawachukui tu majukumu. Asante.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. And I think cost, yes, suffers a disproportionately higher percentage of users, but cities like Nairobi are also suffering. And Mr. Speaker, as this request for statement goes to the committee, I'm hoping that the committee will apply itself on 2 very critical issues. One, on the role of NACADA. Mr. Speaker, NACADA in its current form and state cannot deal with the drug issue in this country. In fact, we might want to think as a parliament whether we want to make NACADA to be directly under the President's office or the Ministry of Interior so that it gets the teeth that it needs to bite. Because the elements that are needed...
NACADA is under Ministry of Interior.
In agreement, Mr. Speaker, yes. You didn't let me prosecute. Yes. It is not fully there because, Mr. Speaker, there are some functions of NACADA that have been taken up and put in county governments. And what is happening is that the revenue that counties are looking for is encouraging them to open as many bars as possible. And these bars, not only is alcohol being consumed there, but these bars are also the places where drugs are being trafficked through. So NACADA now ends up suffering the problem of not having resources to undertake the war against drugs, but the counties on the other side are also licensing too many bars, even close to schools, close to hospitals, residential areas, and so on. The second issue, Mr. Speaker, is that when the issue of drugs was brought to this parliament, you are a member of parliament, Mr. Speaker, and I do remember the former minister, Minister Saitoti, and the issues that were prosecuted in this house. Mr. Speaker, we will need as a nation to move this war of drugs from fighting users to following the chain, From the user, there is a peddler. From the peddler, there is a dealer. From the dealer, there is the baron. From the baron, there are international cartels. And these users would never get the drugs if these drugs never found their way into the territory of Kenya. So the problem is way higher up than this young man or woman that we are criminalizing as a user. The user is at the end of the chain. So as the committee is prosecuting this matter, let us also see what it is that we can do to upscale this fight from the level of the ground where we are criminalizing the user all the way to the peddler, to the dealer, to the baron, and see how then we can also arrest it using the international instruments that are available. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity.
Justice Kamei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to add my voice to this very, very pertinent subject. An issue that is threatening the generations of this country. Earlier on, Mr. Speaker, we used to think that it was a phenomenon of cities like Mombasa and Nairobi. The truth of the matter that right now is that this substance abuse has gone to rural areas like our constituencies. In my constituency, Mr. Speaker, there is something called Kutber. I don't know where it came from. Kuber. Something called Kuber. I don't know where it came from. That language does not even belong.
It's called?
Kuber.
Kuber.
Kuber. K-U-B-E-R. I don't know where it came from. You see a young man putting it in his mouth. The next thing is a pale shadow of himself. It is spreading in so many schools, institutions, Mr. Speaker, and it is threatening the generations of this country. Mr. Speaker, I want us as Parliament to apply ourselves fully to this issue and not to leave it to the Ministry of Interior alone and not leave it to NACADA alone. Mr. Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Yes, Oundo.
Honorable Speaker, thanks a lot for my colleague, Mheshimiwa Tindi Mwale, for bringing this matter. But I think it's being too elitist to only consider these imported and high-value drugs. Honorable Speaker, where we come from, we have the maintenance of bang, sativa, whatever it's called, bang. And Honorable Speaker,
It's called cannabis sativa.
Cannabis sativa. I'm most unfortunate because I border Uganda. And what happens, nowadays the growing is being done in Uganda, and Funila constituency, particularly the border point at Bukwamba and part of Sigalame, is the entry point to Kenya. And Honorable Speaker, I will shock you beyond belief that actually the people who are growing bang in Uganda and transport and peddling through across Kenya to come to Nairobi are actually the policemen. They are the policemen. And we have raised this issue continuously. I even raised it to the county commander.
Are you saying Kenyan policemen?
Yes, Kenyan policemen.
In Uganda?
Yes, they cross over to Uganda and grow bang and bring and they make sure they supervise the border point because Apora's border point through Mulwanda, Sigalame, and Bukwamba, and actually transport it and they escort it all the way, Honorable Speaker, to here Nairobi. You can see how deep rooted this menace is, how well it is supported and protected by the security forces. And that's why we want to ask the committee, and it's good has been directed to the Committee of Internal Security. They really need to rein on their police force and all security apparatus in this country. Yes, they make a lot of money from it, much more than they make from their salaries and allowances. But you cannot do that at the expense of the young people in this country. Honorable Speaker, if you go to most schools in Western Kenya, when you look at the boys and the girls, even the girls are becoming notorious. They look like zombies. We are even worried. We used to laugh that people from Mount Kenya region and Central, their classrooms, kindergarten classrooms were empty. Probably the next few years to come, in Western Kenya, also the classrooms are going to be empty because the boys are not doing the work they are supposed to do. Women are complaining all over, Honorable Speaker. We ask you for your assistance to solve this menace so that we can continue to reproduce because we need more numbers to take over our position as we grow old. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Katana.
Asante, Bwana Speaker. Swala la mihadarati ni swala nyeti sana. Bwana Spika, zamani madawa ya kulevya yalikuwa yanapatikana mijini. Lakini kufikia sasa yameingia mpaka mashinani. Na wanaumia zaidi ni watoto wa shule. Bwana Spika, watoto wetu siku hizi wameanza kujiua kwa sababu wakikula madawa ya kulevya kufikiria kwao kunakuwa ni duni. Tujiulize swala moja, Bwana Spika. Kenya hatuna shamba la cocaine wala hatuna shamba la heroin. Haya madawa yote ya kulevya yanatoka nje. Ni wapi ambapo kuna ulegevu ambapo inaruhusu madawa haya kuingia katika nchini? Kama vile ndugu yangu amesema, kuna baadhi ya vitengo vya usalama ambao wanajua ni kina nani wanaleta mihadarati, wanajua ni kina nani wanauza mihadarati, lakini watu hawa hawawezi kushikwa kwa sababu wanalindwa na wanalipa baadhi ya polisi wetu ili waweze kuwalinda waendelee na biashara yao haramu. Ni wakati mwafaka, Bwana Spika, kama taifa sisi sote bila kulaumu mtu yote tujitolee kama Wakenya kusema kwamba swala la mihadarati ni lazima liharamishwe katika nchi yetu kwa sababu linahatarisha usalama wa kitaifa. Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipatia nafasi.
Wanakatana tayari limeharamishwa. Is unlawful to be found with drugs.
Bwana Spika, ndio tunasema vitengo vya usalama vimelegea. Ni lazima kwa sababu hatuna mashamba ya cocaine, hatuna mashamba ya heroin. Kule zinakotoka ni lazima waangalie kama zinakuja kwa njia ya meli ama kwa njia yoyote, mipaka yetu lazima ilindwe, tuhakikishe kwamba hakuna mihadarati inaingia katika taifa letu. Asante Bwana Spika.
Benja will be the last.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the honorable member for bringing up this matter. Mr. Speaker, drugs are threatening to kill our whole generation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as the committee looks at this matter, I want to propose to them that the committee should look at who are the actors, Mr. Speaker, where are the failures in terms of enforcement, Mr. Speaker. And number 3, Mr. Speaker, much more important, is we might accuse NACADA for not performing, but we must also look at the law that establishes NACADA, whether we can propose amendments to that law to give it more powers, more teeth, Mr. Speaker, so that they can be able to act accordingly, Mr. Speaker. So I support the statement.
Chair Security, Owen Bayer.
Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Tongo is not here, neither is the Vice Chair Colonel is not
Inform them to bring a report, an answer in the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Taita Taveta. Member for Taita Taveta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Member for Mwatate, sorry.
It's Mwatate.
Mwatate, Bwana Mbogo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity you've given me to give my statement. My statement reads.
You should tender an apology to the House for coming late. This is the second time I'm calling you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, for coming late.
Yes.
I was tied up somewhere in the hospital. I'd gone to see a patient. Sorry for that.
Go ahead.
Request for statement regarding the rise of insecurity in Taita Taveta County. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the recent rise of insecurity in Taita Taveta, particularly in Voi and Mwatate constituencies. Honorable Speaker, the rise of insecurity in Taita Taveta County has negatively impacted not only the safety but the well-being of the residents, particularly in Voi and Matate constituencies. The constituencies have experienced a number of insecurity incidences in the last 5 months, with people being killed and borders stolen. For instance, in May 2024, Mr. Marian Shali Chow of ID number 278-97833 was found dead at a satellite site around Rianchore hillside with multiple cut wounds. Additionally, a border rider, Mr. Dunningston Makio Mangombe of ID number 138-22664, was found dead on 14th April 2024 in Voi Central Business District and his border stolen. On May 28, 2024,